So welcome to the 1990 series. My name is Amanda O'Shea, the Loving Life Coach from the Serendipity Experience. And it is with great pleasure that I introduce my mate James from London. James, welcome to the 1990 series.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. You are Mr. 89.
Mr. 89.
Yeah.
Oh, so there's one after me then.
There's one after you, yes.
I'm the penultimate one. The penultimate one.
The penultimate, saving the best to last, hey? You are the...
Yeah, well, second last.
You are the best. You're the busy guys. The busy guys that it's taken me like 3 months to try and just... So I know how busy you are, and I know how it's this time of year. I appreciate your time. James,
I'm glad you got to do it.
Yeah, me too. It's been a real pleasure spending all the time that we have done in the last couple of years. And I know that I introduced the 3 principles to you two and a half years ago, and I know that was super helpful for you.
Oh, massively, yeah. I mean, background-wise, I've been in abstinence-based recovery programs for the last 10 or 11 years, and what the principles did for me was something that I couldn't get out of that abstinence-based recovery program, and despite the fact I wasn't indulging, if you like, in drugs and alcohol as I had previously, and come to the point of death several times with, I was still sort of trapped in something, and I sort of, through meeting you and being introduced to the principles, being given freedom, and it's helped me enormously in just every single area. But the area that I couldn't get out of was codependency, in a really troubling, dangerous relationship that I was in, and it's just given me complete freedom from that, and it's lovely. Thanks.
No, and it is lovely. But thank you for listening, because and that was quite I love that when somebody kind of hears something new for the first time. And I'll never forget the first sort of 10-minute chat we had. You said, "This is either going to change my life, or you have completely mucked my head up." And I said it's a bit of both, really.
It got me straight away, because it was the opposite of everything that I've been shown. I've been in, like I said, recovery, but I've been in like some form of therapy or another from the age of like 15, 20 years. So I was well versed, in the place we met. I thought I'd sort of know it all, and it completely turned it on his head, actually, and it got me straight away, because I'm a bit of a rebel. I'm like, yeah, this is different. Let's see what this does, and like I say, ongoing. The thing about the principles as well, it never gets boring. Like, it's easy to get bored, because once you know it, you know it. But once you get it, you get it. But then it evolves. It evolves and it changes, and you have more and more insights, and it's quite low maintenance as well. You just sort of tap into it, and once it's there, once you know. So it just changes everything. I mean, the first month or two is unbelievable, because you're like, oh, you're thinking about your thoughts. You go, where's my level of consciousness here? Do you know what I mean? What am I doing? I'm at a low level of consciousness. I should make a decision. Just little things like that. It's really straightforward.
Yeah.
But then I don't think I'd have got it without knowing the other things I knew either, and knowing how different it was to move from it. So it was different. But that's my experience.
Sure. I've heard that before. People that have already gone through a step program, people that are already in their recovery. Actually, when those people hear it, they find it easier, especially somebody. I mean, I know that you enjoy the meetings, and I know that you've still got a good connection with the kind of fellowship based sort of recovery. But when people have rebelled against that as well, when the typical kind of fellowship AA NA doesn't suit people, I think it's really nice when somebody comes along with something like the principles behind, you know, addiction recovery, because that is all it is really. We are just talking about some basic principles, some constants that explain how the human experience is created.
Yeah. For me, it's something which accentuated and built upon the groundwork I had with that. You know, but like I say, my experience is my experience. I don't know how it would have looked had, you know, when I was in my early 20s in a treatment centre, if I'd have been shown that instead, how would that be? I don't know.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't really matter either.
And it doesn't matter. What matters is that
No.
you got freedom of mind. That what matters is that it was almost like I just gave you a little nudge, but you went away and you did your own exploring. I think that, you know, you watched more things and more videos and books than I ever read. You know, you got like me. You got really into it. You know.
Oh, I got the bug. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it was lovely, and we went to some of the London conference together and stuff like that, and you know that was really, really nice. So James, if there was, you know, so I mean that's amazing that you got to see that your happiness, that your peace of mind, that your feelings didn't come from anything outside of you, right? And that seemed to give you or from an observer's point of view, that seemed to give you this kind of like ability to, or there was an implication of that you got to have more secure thinking that you were okay and you could do whatever it was you needed to do, like yourself, and you completely blossomed. I mean, you know, you really did, from the work, you know, work perspective, from your sort of family perspective, and you it seemed like you really just
It was like I was working off 20 or 30%. And I realised, especially the thought thing grabbed me at the beginning, where I was spending my time in hell thinking about things and being nervous and worrying about things which weren't happening to me now. But yet I had that fear. And I've gone through, my brain and my thoughts have put me through so much pain. Things which might have been happening, some were happening, but not all of them were happening. But that's where I lived. I lived in fear, you know. And then, you know, upon understanding the principles, it's kind of taken me from that, knowing I'm not there, being more present with my children. You know, I've got 3 kids. Being far more present at work. I mean, I've got a very stressful job, and not understanding how. I don't know how I used to do it. I don't know how I used to do it, because I'm sitting there looking at screens and trying to make decisions, you know, sometimes, you know, hundreds a day, very quickly. And I wasn't really thinking about that when I was doing it, you know. Now being solely focused on being a dad, you know, being good at my job and, you know, helping other people or whatever, all of a sudden it's like I've gone into turbo mode, you know. And the things that I'm getting from life are, we used to have a saying in the fellowship, beyond your wildest dreams, you know. And it really is. I cannot believe, I would never have thought I'd be the person I am today 2.5, 3 years ago when I met you initially. You know.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
It's amazing. It's amazing for me to have, you know, just to have seen your kind of journey, and I love that. I love that it brings somebody freedom. You know, if it's just one person has become a better dad because of that, or a better son, or a better neighbor, or a better husband, or a better whatever it is, just you know, because of that, then that's where, you know, that's a job well done. You know, that's why we're in this game of sharing what we share, because we see, or I see the potential it has. I see the potential in every human being, but I see the potential when somebody understands how their psychological system works, how helpful that is for them to, like you say, get out there and just be and create and not let anything get in their way beyond your wildest dreams. You know, it's like, it's wonderful, isn't it? You become the creator. You really see that you're the creator again of your own world.
Yeah, 100%.
So has anyone noticed, James? Has anyone ever said to you, like you were, you know, they see, oh, like you're calmer or you're different or you're like, was it a gradual thing or did?
I'm still me. I'm still me, but it's just, you know, the kind of the things I've sort of picked up. I think people maybe take a little bit for granted, but it's cool because I'm fulfilling more. Like, you know, I embarked on when I met you, and I don't mind sharing that. You know, I had to make a big decision around my relationship, and that decision involved me basically being a single parent and looking after my 3 children while still having a high pressure job in the city. And, you know, it was, I don't know anybody else that does that.
Yeah, it's huge.
You know, but yeah, you know, I could do that. And not only am I doing that, but I'm, without being arrogant, flourishing doing that. You know, I'm able to be present with my children. I'm able to have the correct things in place so they're looked after, they can be taken to school, etc., etc. And I'm in a fortunate position where I can have people do that for me, you know. And then, you know, it's helped me with work in an unbelievable way that, you know, I'm just so present and so on top of my work that it attracts more business and more people want to use me to do what I do. And it's amazing. It's amazing how what you can do when you aren't living in fear of doing it, and then with those thoughts saying, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you know, but it's not happening now. And if you just keep doing stuff, it seems to work out, you know. And it doesn't, you know, like sure, sometimes I'm tired and sometimes it's you know, they're 15, 16-hour days or whatever, but I wouldn't change it for anything. Great. You know. And it's a huge amount. I'm getting so much from, you know, the experience of it.
Yeah, that's so lovely, James. And I know the other day we just had a little chat, and you said, "Oh, I had a bit of a funny day today." You said, "But I listened to old Sydney Banks again," and you were like,
yeah.
You said, "Well, he's quite cool. Is that Sydney Banks?"
it's the basics, isn't it? I mean, sometimes, and you know, it's intuitive. Once you understand, it's intuitive, right? But you know, we're all human, and we can forget, and we can get overwhelmed, and you know, sometimes your thoughts can race, and then you get anxious and stressed, and you know, it's good to know that old Sid's always there, and you can listen to a few of his very delicately paced lectures.
Yeah, I love those.
And it just gets you back, you know. It reminds you, you know.
I'll put a link to those actually on this under this call. The Hawaiian lectures and the
Long Beach
lectures and the Long Beach lectures.
Yeah.
I love listening. I always, you know, for anybody who has problems sleeping, when I used to always fall asleep listening to those lectures.
Yeah. And Michael Neal's a great exponent of the you know, of the principles, which was the first thing you introduced, that and Jack Pransky's book. Were the ones. And you know, they're great as well. Just as a reminder, just when, you know, I mean, I loved it so much when I first became aware of the principles. I swear I must have watched Michael Neal's Why Aren't We Awesomer thing every day for about 6 or 7 months at least once, and showed everyone I knew. I was like, look at this, it's amazing. You know. And it's here called us. I mean, you've seen you know, a friend or two of mine as well to show him this, and it helped him too.
I know. You know? Just a little, like a couple of, you know, little chats or something, and how people suddenly are like, oh my God, this is incredible. It really is, James. You know, I'm very lucky to be speaking at a conference in America next year, which is the first 3 Principles Recovery and Addiction Conference. So so that's really, really exciting. Yeah, with Amy Johnson and Christian McNeil and Joe Bailey and Bill Pettit, and on a panel, I think, talking about the health of the helper, which is about, you know, and I see that a lot in recovery, that it's sort of where somebody comes from. If you're dealing, if the staff or if the crew or if the team are in a good place, if they're coming from a place of love and not coming from a place of fear, I think that has a huge impact on the people that you're working with, you know.
Sure.
Even if people aren't listening, or even if people aren't, just to have that energy, that presence.
I think for anyone, I think just humans generally, your environment says so much, and a lot of it's unspoken. Like look at a baby, you know. A baby is just like the purest form of anything. There's no preconceptions. There's nothing. It's just a baby, right? And the amount that a baby will pick up on mood, you know, if you're stressed out and you're holding a baby, the baby's not going to stop crying, right?
Yeah.
If you're chilled and you're sitting there and it's all cozy, away they go. You know, what's that all about? How do they know that?
Yeah.
Where does this stuff come from?
Yeah.
Amazing.
It is amazing. And
that's all the way down the line. You know, to link into what you said. That's you know, it's the same. You know, it's the same.
And we keep coming back to that place where we remember that we are love and everything's okay. And there's a creation happening every single moment where we get to create experience and create stories, and we can dramatize things, or you know, we can come back to the present moment. Because there's some big dramatic, I mean, we've had even ourselves things that have gone on in the last, you know, 3 years, right? Big kind of thing.
Yeah, big stuff.
Like, we just bring it back. Okay, that's okay. We bring it back. And
some huge things, but it's just, you know, it's okay.
Yeah, and it becomes okay. Mr. James, I think you are amazing. That's who's amazing.
Yeah.
And I hope that somebody who is watching this might just hear something and be inspired to go and watch the Michael Neal Won't We All Smell, or read Jack Pransky's Somebody Should Have Told Us, or listen to Sydney Banks, or watch the whole of the 90 series.
Yes. Yes, do that.
Conversations. 90 fabulous people from all over the globe in 90 days. And I'm almost there. I've got one more call to do, and that is the 90 and 90 series. And who knows, you know, where this will go, who will watch these, and what little something might just spark off something that they've already got inside of them, to find freedom of mind like you did. And that is that's the greatest.
It's the best. It's the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I love you too. Mwah. Big kiss to you and all of yours and everybody who's watching. Lots of love. Bye.